Hi, Jason Ott here, and we're talking with words with Rob Keeler from Stewart Filmscreen. Rob, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
So, tell us, you've got a lot of product debuts coming out here from Stewart recently.
Yes.
Let's start with Gemini. Tell us about that.
So Gemini is a unique product. It's really designed to be a solution, and that's one of the things that Stewart Filmscreen really prides itself on is creating solutions. And the best way I could probably describe Gemini is the idea that I watch movies and I watch football. If I were to ask you what's the difference between the two, your response would be probably aspect ratio. That's the answer I get a lot of applications, a lot of times when I ask that. But the reality is not the aspect ratio, it's the lighting condition that's inherent with those two activities. If I'm watching movies, I've got full light control. Even in my media room, I've got full light control, all the lights are off. I can choose the appropriate screen for that application. However, when I turn the lights on and have friends over to watch the big game or a sporting event on certainly recently we've had a few on TV, it's the wrong screen choice for that environment when the lights are fully on. So Gemini addresses two different screens ultimately in one chassis to give you the ultimate experience or the correct experience in both applications. So again, a reference grade material that Stewart's known and famous for is going to give you the fidelity, the image that the director's intended to give you when you're watching movies, and yet still enjoy a movie that watching TV that's not washed out. I mean, in the two-piece world, we've seen a slew of applications where people turn on the lights and the image, they complain about the image washout. Well, that's where Gemini comes into play, and more specifically, we'll talk about it later, but Phantom as a material.
Yeah.
So.
And this is becoming even more important as we see more and more people going to two-piece projection in these media rooms, not necessarily dedicated rooms, but general purpose rooms where the ambient light conditions change.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about Balon for a second. Tell us about that.
So Balon is an updated version of our wraparound screens. We've had screens where they've literally had zero edge all the way around it because the material will wrap around the back side of the frame. But we wanted to bring it a little more contemporary, a little more designer friendly. Certainly homes, people are becoming more design focused. So Balon offers a wraparound screen that's got a beveled edge to it, so it's got a knife edge, if you will, around the facade. And we offer it in a variety of mounting options that go from flush against the wall to staggered out so that you can bring the screen away from the wall a little bit, which is also great for in-wall speaker applications where you don't want it butted right up against the screen and need to put a little bit of distance in between the speaker and the screen. Because Balon is available up to 16 feet wide, so we can incorporate that into some very high-end spaces as well as some commercial applications as well. So.
All right, Cascade. What is Cascade?
So Cascade is essentially our torrent on a diet. And we've been able to reduce the size of the chassis by about 56%. And what's meaningful to that, or the reason why we developed that is we see a lot of retrofit applications, especially on the East Coast, where homes have a limited amount of space between the first floor ceiling, the joist of going up to the second floor. So there may be, no more than 8 or 9 inches of space in between that first and second floor due to the joist because of the older homes. Cascade gives us an opportunity to put a very large screen into that limited height application. So perfect for large screen applications using some new tube technologies for us. Again, for both residential and commercial applications, it'll do very well in those in those scenarios.
All right, last but not least, a lot of buzz about Phantom Hailer. Tell us what is the product? Why is it so special?
I tell you, it is absolutely one of my favorite products. I actually have a screen in my media room that's based around Phantom. Phantom is going to literally be an industry-leading high ambient light rejecting screen. The idea that, again, we were talking about media rooms before, that people want to have the lights on or not feel like they're always in the dark with these rooms. Phantom gives us 82% light rejection, and then because we're a manufacturer of the product, we have complete control, and we're building that screen one layer at a time. And in doing so, we can create a very large size screen, up to 40 by 90 feet. So not a lot of size limitation, there. Some of the other factors, because we're manufacturing, we can manufacture it in flexible format. So now I can put a high ambient light rejecting screen on a motorized tube. So a variety of, again, applications where maybe you don't want to see the screen, but you need it to act like, a really large TV. I talk to dealers, I talk to people that say, what's the largest TV you have? And everybody loves to say, the flat panel size. And I say, well, I have a TiVo going to a projector, I've got a 133-inch screen. But the Phantom is a material that allows us to have a wider array of applications. And some of the other advantages for us are not only just size, but again, it's flexible, so I can motorize it and I can perf it. So if you have someone that has a nice set of speakers that they still want to use, the screen will drop down and be perforated so the sound can pass through. But my favorite part of Phantom is, those are all great, but my favorite part is there's no color aberrations. Typically ALR screens will shift to a shade of blue. Ours does not. It is designed to work with, the color specs that we're seeing with 4K, HDR, Rec BT 2020 and Rec 709. So, you don't have to worry about trying to replace or calibrate your projector to replace missing colors on the screen. They're all there. So.
Let's, last but not least, talk a little bit about some of the trends that are happening in the two-piece projection space. You mentioned acoustical transparency. Yep. Is that it's really becoming very important?
Well, I think a lot of people are taking notice of architectural speakers, in certain applications, they'll prefer architectural speakers that do require placement behind the screen, and that's where acoustically transparent screens will definitely pave the way. Certainly, I think probably the better trend for all of us involved is people are interested in bigger screens. As we move to 4K projectors, there's, depending on what seating charts you're looking at, you can move up the distance between your seating position and your screen, but likely you're not going to sit 6.5 feet away from a 10-foot wide screen. So what I suggest is, now you're looking at going from a 133 to a 138, from a 138 to a 150. I can't tell you how many times we're seeing requests for larger than 150-inch screens for people's homes that they're paired with mainstream projectors. And we're not talking the high-end projectors. We're talking mainstream projectors. So the consumer, I believe, is looking bigger is better kind of thing. So they're definitely looking for bigger screens. But between that and acoustic transparent and a couple other things, it's a fun time to be in this business. It really is.
All right, Rob Keeler from Stewart Filmscreen, thanks for joining us on Talking with Words.
Thank you very much, Jason. Appreciate it.